Good afternoon and welcome at the press conference following the Foreign Affairs Council of today. Apologies for the delay, and in order not to lose more time, I give the floor to the High Representative, who will present the outcome, and then we'll take a couple of questions. High Representative, you have the floor.
Thank you. Indeed, apologies. It has been a long council where we discussed many different very important things. Let me say it was also a very good council, extremely constructive and representing very much united positions of the member states on all the issues we discussed. Let me start from Libya. We had a long discussion with Martin Kobler, the UN Special Envoy of the Secretary General. After the Libyan political dialogue meeting in Tunis just a couple of days ago, we were deeply briefed by Kobler on the results and also on the procedures of the Libyan political dialogue works. We welcomed the results, especially as they were represented in the statements that they produced in all their parts. We see very clearly the need for Libya to have a government of national accord as soon as possible, to be able to tackle both the security, the humanitarian situation of the country, the risk that, first of all, for the Libyans is there in the absence of a government. We are ready as European Union, together with the rest of the international community, to encourage and support in all possible ways the Libyan work in this respect. And we have also started our internal work to sanction individuals who are obstructing this internal Libyan process. We had a very positive work session on Russia with the ministers, not focusing on sanctions for once, but on our common policy bilaterally, EU-Russia relations. We will come back to the sanctions decisions in due time, either in the Foreign Affairs Council and or in the European Council. Let me stress that we had, among the 28, unanimity on 5 guiding principles of the European Union policy towards Russia. First of this guiding principle is the full implementation of the Minsk agreements as a key element for any substantial change in our relations. By the way, this is an important week. It's the week where 2 years ago the illegal annexation of Crimea took place, and we restated our common strong position of non-recognition of the annexation of Crimea. The second principle is strengthening relations with our eastern partners and other neighbors, in particular in Central Asia. And we had a very good discussion on how to proceed in this respect. Third, strengthening internal European Union resilience, in particular in view of energy security, hybrid threats and strategic communication, but not only. Fourth principle we all agreed on is the need for selective engagement with Russia, both on foreign policy issues. This is clear when it comes to Iran or the Middle East peace process or Syria, but also DPRK or migration or counterterrorism, climate change, but also in other areas where there is a clear European Union interest. The fifth of our common guiding principles is the willingness to support more and more the Russian civil society and engage and invest in people-to-people contacts and exchanges and the policies that are related to that, with a particular view to the youth of Russia and the youth of the European Union, because we see the future of our countries as something we need to invest into. This, as I said, was not a difficult discussion, was a united, very much united discussion we had, and I believe this is going to be extremely relevant for the follow-up of our work. Obviously, we will follow this up, and in particular, the Commission will have in the coming months also discussion on that part of the work that will be somehow framed by the political decisions or conversations we had today with the ministers. On Iran, I shared with the ministers plans. First of all, an assessment of the implementation of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action that is on good track. The IEA also recently confirmed that Iran is sticking to its commitments. We exchanged and shared an assessment following the elections in Iran. That was a clear vote of confidence in President Rouhani's agenda, especially of economic reforms. And I shared with the ministers plans and preparations of my visit on the 16th of April with a number of commissioners, in particular Commissioner Cañete, Energy, Commissioner Moedas for Research, Commissioner Vella for Environment, Commissioner Biankowska, Enterprises, Stylianides, Humanitarian Affairs, Commissioner Navratilova, Education, and Commissioner Bulc, Transports. And this outlines already the different elements and different issues we're going to cover in our dialogue with our Iranian counterparts. That is obviously political consultations, including consultations on human rights, but also dialogue and cooperation on trade and investment, on energy, including oil, gas, renewables, and energy efficiency, and also civil nuclear cooperation. That is something that comes out of the GCPOA as a natural field of engagement for the European Union. In the field of transport, in particular, with the work that we can commonly do on aviation safety. We also discussed about the need for a dedicated dialogue on migration with Iran, the fight against drugs, the field of research, education, science and environment, and obviously the regional issues that are going to be always on our agenda with Iran. We also had, last point but not least, on the Middle East peace process. I updated the ministers on the state of play of the work of the quartet in producing the report we agreed to do in Munich during the meeting with the principals, with Kerry, Lavrov and the UN Deputy Secretary General. And the synergies and coordinations we are establishing with a French initiative that is taking shape in these days. Our special envoys are in contact. The French Minister Jean-Marc Ayrault presented ideas, and all member states welcomed this approach of creating synergies and working together in support of the consolidated European position and in strong connection with the quartet members and with the Arab interlocutors that are also those with whom we are working in the framework of the quartet. Let me also mention that I updated the ministers on the external work on migration we have been doing in these months. And that will be the basis also of my report to the European Council later this week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We only have time for a couple of questions. I'll give the floor to Lawrence over there.